get my 6. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Homesteading Off the Grid, the most popular homesteading channel on the entire internet that has absolutely nothing to do with homesteading. So I've got a story for you today. It's it's similar to what I used to do when this channel started. Remember the morning rambles? It's about the difference between nice and kind, because the difference between the two is worlds apart. But we're gonna go up into the woods way back there to look for him, her, it, or they. So get my 6. You never know who or what might be creeping around behind us. But we're gonna start by doing something that I've been promising to do for a while, and that's kind of give you a walkthrough of some of the trees on the property here, because a lot of you have followed this channel for many years, and you can remember when this property was nothing but a hayfield, and you can remember when we planted these trees that were 18 inches tall. I'm going to show you what it looks like now as we walk and talk and get up into the woods to look for him, her, it, or they. All right, so let me reverse the angle of the phone. Well, here's the view that I get. This is my office. This is the hammock that I got my beautiful bride Dearly, aka Giggly Girl, for Mother's Day this year. I use it more than her. This is where I work from. This is where I read. This is where I write. This is where I create. There's our fruit orchard we planted. This is part of what I'm going to show you. Here's the pond. But let's get up. It's like POV. All right. So, of course, the pond was there. This weeping willow was not. The story behind this one, which it's 20 feet high now after 5 years, started out as a stick, a cutting from some friends of ours wanted us to take down a weeping willow for them. We did. We came home and we used the sticks to mark our garden in one of our gardens, and of course they rooted and sprouted, and this one was looking beautiful, so we put it right here by the corner of the pond, and it's doing really well. Got some banana trees. They don't actually fruit because the growing season here isn't long enough for them. But here's some peach trees. The peach trees were the first fruit trees we planted here. Look at all these peaches. We got tons of them. Here's some plum trees. Plenty of plums. We lined the driveway here with the plum trees. They get these really beautiful white blossoms in the spring. So, what do we got over here? Pears. Look at these pears. So, here's a view of the pond from up here. It's gorgeous. And then, of course, up there's our meadow that's becoming a forest. That was part of the hayfield. We're allowing it to regrow, reforest. Let's come down through here. Tons of fruit trees. Well, I mean like 40 some fruit trees in here. About half of them are fruiting now. They've been here long enough to fruit. Here's some more plums. Gosh, this is beautiful. These trees were, again, 18 inches high when we planted them. This one's probably closer to 10 feet now. It's got plums all over it. So the privacy hedge, look at this cedar tree, easily 15 feet high. Here comes a car, look. Can't see it. Well, you saw just a flash of it there. All these trees, none of these trees were more than 2 feet high when we planted them. There's some privet in there. Here's some privet. I filled in the gaps with the privet, and it's just grown together into a thick hedge. We have a bee box. We're trying to capture wild swarms. Haven't yet. Here's some more pears. These are Asian pears. This is a different species than ones over there. We got peach trees, more peach trees. This is a pear tree. There's the Leland cypresses on the other side of the hedge, but here's more Asian pears. They're just starting to grow. They're going to get huge. Here comes another car. Let's see if you can see it. Barely. I mean, barely. So the privacy hedge is doing what it was meant to do. These Leland cypresses are over 20 feet tall. They were literally 20 inches tall when we planted them 7 years ago. So here's the fruit orchard from this side. Oh, up there's the mimosa. It's in bloom. See the beautiful mimosa buds up there, and there's another one. Beautiful tree. Anyway, oh, here's some hollies, beautiful hollies. And guys, I want to talk to you about Leland cypresses. I want to show you something here. People say that they're very disease riddled and they're like weeds and don't get them. We had one that got sick here and it started to die off. We gave it a legitimate amount of time to get healthy and it did not. And it started to affect the one beside it. Now, if you don't remove them, they'll kill your whole line. So what we did is we cut it down, and as they need to be replaced, we're replacing them with the indigenous eastern red cedars. So this will grow back together here in a few years. It'll catch back up. We did save that tree in time. So it's not that Leland cypresses are not worth having. It's just that you need to take care of it, just like any other plant. Here's another weeping willow that started out as a cutting. So these, let's see, what are these? Yeah, these hollies. We got these at Kroger, which is a grocery store in the Mid-Atlantic. At Christmas time, they sell them for $19.99. They're about a foot tall. They're for inside the house. Look at this. 8 feet tall, easily. We've lined this part of the driveway with them. Now, this is a row of burning bushes. Some people call them Virginia burning bushes or just burning bushes. We got these from a nursery online. They were literally sticks about a foot tall. We put these in. It'll be 7 years ago this December. The first year we were here, made a whole row, and they're beautiful in the fall of the year. The leaves turn a crimson blood red. They're very beautiful, and guys, it just, takes effort, but I keep the weeds weeded down below them. I need to get down here. It's been about 10 days since I've weeded, but it's a lot of work. But I mean, look at this. It's absolutely worth it. It's gorgeous. Here's the field where my son learned to play football. He went from not being able to throw or catch to being the starting quarterback on his team, and now he's getting ready to play middle school football. So he helped us plant all these trees, and it was really neat because we'd plant them and he'd run down the row and he'd jump over them, and we'd tell him, you better enjoy that because one of these days you're not going to be able to jump over them, and that day has come. Here's a cherry tree, 22 to 25 feet high, maple, privet, even the privet bushes. We put them here in spots where we wanted to make sure, to get pure privacy from the porch, way up there. Didn't want to see or hear the traffic. I've been taking the tree guards off. This one's not quite ready. This is a maple. I'm leaving the tree guards on until the trees are clearly thick enough for the bucks not to rub them when they go into rut this fall. Like this. This will be the last year this one's in the tree guard. But even then, I come around, I take them off sometimes and weed around them. Look at that. What a beautiful maple tree that is. Guys, this was just a hayfield. And for those of you who've been following the channel for the 5 or 6 years we've been on here, you can remember that. This was a hayfield. We planted 7 rows of trees, and then the 8th row was Virginia burning bushes. But this maple tree, 10 feet high, we dug all these trees up. Other than the Leland cypresses we bought, and the hollies we bought, and the burning bushes we bought. But even the cedars, none of these cedars were more than a foot tall. We dug them up out of the meadow that we're allowing to reforest. So I'm really excited. We call this our man-made forest. Here's the only oak tree in here. It stayed about a foot tall for years, but now it's a little more than 5 feet tall. First 5 years, they grow very slowly. They'll only grow 5 feet in 5 years, but after that, they start taking off. We got locust, poplar. There's a big tall poplar. Another beautiful maple. Look at that. That maple is 18 to 20 feet tall. It was literally 18 to 20 inches tall when we planted it 6-7 years ago. Got privets filling in the gaps behind the Leland cypresses and the cedars in the front row. I will mow in here until I can't fit the mower in here anymore, because the less the trees have to compete with any sort of weeds, the better they're going to grow. Here's a mulberry tree. Gets berries on it. Another locust. Eastern red buds everywhere. Wild black cherry. Persimmon tree. This one's not fruiting. What's this? Oh, this is black haw. You hear a couple cars. We're close to the road. It's a little thinner down here on this end of the man-made forest because the soil doesn't get as much water runoff as it does back there. So it's taking these trees a little bit longer to fill in, but they are doing it. Beautiful, beautiful autumn blaze maples, persimmons, maple. So this is our man-made forest. And here's some more trees. I planted these a little tighter together, and so I just couldn't get in there to mow anymore, especially now that I have that zero turn which is a lot wider than what I started out with when we got the property. Now these weeds, here we are on the other end, there's the burning bushes. These were left because I planted a bunch of wildflowers in here. Actually down here I planted Jerusalem artichokes. Yeah, and I think they're coming up. The deer love them. If I don't spray them in time, yep, right there. They look like, the flowers look like sunflowers. They got the flower off of that one, but you can actually eat the roots. We haven't yet, but they're ready to be eaten. But I planted 400,000 wildflower seeds in here. They didn't come up last year, which didn't surprise me, but they're starting to come up now. If the deer have been eating the tops off. Here's some. So there's 400,000 wildflowers in here. They're starting to come up. They're starting to bloom. Here's some more. So this whole, give it another month, it's going to look like a rainbow with all the wildflowers. Crabapple tree, a little thicket of, a little patch of persimmon started growing up here, and I just left it there, so there'll be like a little shady island there. But now we're going to walk up here. I actually made a new trail the other day too. I'll show you that too. But that's 10 minutes worth of the tour. Over there's some. It's our firewood stock. Beautiful weeping willow. We didn't know much about it at the time. We would have planted that a little bit lower where we put one this spring because that's where the water runs off. These trees flourish with a lot of water. But we water this one when it gets dry. We have 400 feet of water hose that we run out. To water it, we only need about half of it. But we actually, when we planted all these trees, the first 2 summers, we would run that hose out here and water all these trees. It'd take 2 hours. I still water the orchard once a week if we don't get rain. We got a lot of rain this week, so I didn't do it this week. But I'll take the time to do that. And we have another apple orchard up here. I'll show you the apples when we get to it. Gosh, I could talk about this place. I could go around here for hours. I have memories of every tree. You know, that's really neat. I was talking to a guy the other day about when you cut, split, and stack and burn your own firewood. There are times when I'm putting wood in the wood stove and I'll grab a piece of wood that I literally remember splitting the summer before because maybe it was a crotch section and it gave me a hard time, or maybe, you know, something about the tree. Maybe a particular neighbor gave me that tree, and I remember the conversation we had when we were cutting it into lengths and putting it in the truck. It's just really amazing how this stuff, it all brings back memories. This is the beauty of it, and this is the beauty of doing it yourself instead of hiring landscapers or moving onto a property that's already landscaped. You know, we planted, this is predominantly eastern red buds, so that in the spring when they bloom, they get these really beautiful, like periwinkle colored blossoms on them. They're beautiful. Up there's another mimosa. All right, let me talk about the difference between being nice and being kind. Okay, so I've been promising for the last couple months to give you that kind of like a tour and an update on the trees and how well they've done. They're doing great. And like I literally, where we started the video on that hammock, I spent hours out there. I'll stay out there until it's too hot this summer. Then I'll put it on the back porch and be on the back porch. But I write there, I read. I wrote 2,000 words today. It's why would you stare at a television? Why would you be inside looking at a flat screen TV when you have that view? I created that view too. That's something else. That's what I love most about the view. And here's something I didn't show you. We have the trail that goes down this side. I planted a row of white pines going all the way down through here to give those eastern red buds an evergreen backdrop. So, all right. So did you know, there's this big kick, and I like the idea of it. It looks good on paper here in American culture over the last half a dozen years or so. There's on this kick about being kind. Be kind, it's free. See the shirts that say, my mother told me I could be anything I wanted to be when I grew up, so I decided to be kind. You know what I'm talking about, right? Look at this. Wow. Look at all these wild black raspberries. Yeah. It's starting to ripen up. There's actually a rabbit thicket under there. We trim too. Like in February, we'll go through and cut off limbs that are that need to be trimmed. We prune these trees and we piled them here. There's a stack of limbs in there about 10 feet high. You can come out here in the mornings and it's like a rabbit family reunion. There's so many rabbits here. I'm going to show you these apples. We've got 8 apple trees we planted up here. This is another fruit orchard. These are all apples, but look at all these apples. We had a late freeze this year, It killed a lot of the blossoms, but some of them, we got 3 trees out of the 8 have a lot of apples. But you know, it's just a matter of time. We planted these things when they were, there's apples all over this one. So anyway, let's go up here. Again, I could talk about this for hours. And yeah, judge me, brah, if you want. Call me manic. Say I need to be on meds. Hey, I'm high on life. High on life, brah. I have created this Garden of Eden. Me and my wife and our son. So, all right, so I can really get into this be nice and this be kind thing. But here's something that's really going on, and a lot of people they're not getting it. They say they are. First of all, if people are telling you how nice they are or how kind they are, watch out, because they're not. If they were, they wouldn't have to tell you, they'd show you. Kindness is an action. It's actually doing something for somebody. Nice, that's usually just fake pleasantries, and I'm going to give you a real life example of that in this story. Look at this. Gray birch. Got a gray birch thicket here. Grew up like crazy. These trees are already 25 feet tall. You can't see the house from here. My house is right down there. And for those of you who've been following this channel for the 6 or 7 years that we've lived here, you remember you can come up here, you can see the whole property. There's only one spot up here where you can see the house from this trail. But we're going to cut down a new trail I made, though. I made a new trail with my kid's 4-wheeler and my 0-turn so that I can cut straight down through the meadow here. Yeah. So let's walk down the new trail. And I did it because something crosses in the middle of this trail, especially when it's windy, especially in November, and I want to be able to access this area. So, see the new trail? I just mowed it yesterday for the first time with the 0-turn after wearing it down with the 4-wheeler and coming through with clippers and cutting it. It's about 100 yards long from this part of the meadow to the other. So, I think there are a lot of parents right now, especially who are buying into the kindness thing, who are teaching their children how to be fake and plastic without realizing the damage that might be doing. Here's an example. I could tell you so many crazy stories, which I do a lot, but listen, the world is full of all types of people. And that's a wonderful thing, right? And there's a place for everyone, and everyone has their place, and that's a beautiful thing. A few years ago, my wife and I were at a birthday party for one of our friends. It's a mutual friend. And a woman and her children showed up. And I'd never met this woman. She was in the other room. She was talking to my wife and some of the other women. She'd never met my wife until that day. So I'm sitting there talking with the man, the husband of the woman whose birthday it was, having this party. Isn't this really neat? Look at this. We're in the middle of this meadow. Let me give you a panoramic view. There's the trail we've been coming down. This is going to get the canopy. Like, my house is right. You can't even see it. My house is like right there, but these trees have grown up so much you can't see it. So this woman comes into the room, and she's talking to the guy. And I introduce myself to her. I say, hello, I'm Kevin. I said, I'm Dearly's husband. And she says, oh, I just met her. She's wonderful. I love her. I said, isn't she? I mean, she's great. I love her too. And she goes, I'm not so sure about. It might take me up to a year to figure out whether or not I like you. And that just struck me as strange. And I thought, well, maybe she's kidding around and she's just got an odd sense of humor, like some of us do, you know? I said, come on. You can use my wife as a good judge of character. She likes me, so I can't be that bad. And you like her, so, you could probably just go ahead and like me. And she goes, no. Your wife is an immigrant and a woman of color, so I know I can like her. I know that immediately. You, I'm not so sure. It's probably going to take me at least a year to find out whether or not I like you. Well, I knew exactly what she meant. And you can read between the lines. I'm not going to say it because I'm in the wrong demographic to be able to say such things and get away with it on social media. She is a woman of color, and she's not from the U.S., and she's not from Asia. I'm not going to say where she's from because this isn't about assassinating somebody's character without them being present. This is about showing you the best real life example I've probably ever seen between the difference of being nice and being kind. And it's important that we note this difference. So I didn't let it bother me. I let it flow off my back like water on a duck's back. She was basically telling me I was untrustworthy or needed to be put on, like probation because of my demographic. Whatever. I live right outside of Charlottesville. It's a very politically charged one-way area, and it's common to just meet people like that. And when you're the middle-aged rural white guy, you're on probation for a while with a lot of people, whatever. So I saw her off and on throughout the few years. She would always talk to my wife. She would always act like I wasn't there, which didn't bother me. But about 4 months ago, I was back at that same friend's house. I went there because my son was with their son, and they were on their way there, and I was picking my son up from there. So I went into the house, and this woman and her daughter was in the kitchen with my friend. I went in, I said hi to everybody and acknowledged them, hello. Then I went and sat in on the couch in the living room because I know where I stand with this individual, and that's fine. And even though she's friends with my friend, so I don't want to interfere with any sort of relationship like that. And they're in the middle of a conversation anyway, so I sat in the living room and probably watched silly Bigfoot Sasquatch videos on the internet. Some of the stuff you see on here. So anyway, they're leaving. Her and her daughter come through the living room, and she stops and she says, hello, Kevin. And I say hi, and she talks to me for like 2 minutes. And she was really nice. And my head was saying, so I guess she likes me now. But my gut was saying, no, she doesn't, Kevin. This isn't genuine. Don't trust this. She pretty much let you know where she stood upon the first meeting, and things haven't changed. So and I was cordial. I was polite. After a couple of minutes of meaningless small talk, she goes to the door, which is around the corner from the living room, and they're putting her shoes on. And I hear her daughter say, and her daughter's 5 years old, her daughter says, Mommy, why did you talk to him? You don't like him. You told me that you don't like him. And her mother said, yes, that's true. I don't like him. But remember, kindness is free, and we need to be kind to everyone. And then they put their shoes on, and then they left. I thought, wow, what a message to send to your child. First of all, she wasn't kind. She was nice. And anybody can be nice. All you got to do is smile and be pleasant. And I typically am leery of people who are just automatically and right off the bat nice, especially if they've given me reason to believe that underneath the surface they're not, or at least not kind. People who are unkind can be very nice. Sociopaths are some of the nicest people you'll ever meet. That's often how they enter our circles of influence and put themselves in a position to take advantage of us because they're so damn nice, you just like them. And then they come in and they turn loose as sociopathy. So the message she really sent to her daughter, and her daughter gets this because children, they know, and they're honest. She sent her daughter the message that she's fake and she's plastic, and that not being real is okay. Listen, we're gonna go in here. You get my 6 here now. See if we see him, her, it, or they. That's not kindness. That's not being kind. Again, she was very nice to me. She absolutely was very nice to me, but she wasn't kind to me. Because again, kindness is an action. Kindness is when you see that elderly person or that person with physical challenges taking forever to push that cart full of groceries to their car on the other side of the parking lot. Kindness is stepping in and saying, let me help you. I don't have anywhere I have to be right now. I've got a couple minutes I can give you. Helping them take their cart to their vehicle and loading those groceries for them and taking their cart back. Hey, there's one right there. Kindness is putting your shopping cart back where it goes in the cart holder after you've loaded your car. So many people, they'll walk 3 or 4 miles in Costco, 3 or 4 miles in a super Walmart shopping center, but they can't walk 50 feet to take their car to their cart to the cart rack. doing so is an act of kindness because you're making sure you're not getting that ding in somebody's car in the parking lot. You're making sure the guy or the girl that works there that goes out collecting carts doesn't have to walk 5 miles around the parking lot to get your cart before they can push them back into the store. Kindness is an action. Being fake nice to someone is meaningless. Especially being fake nice to someone you don't like is plastic. That's not a good message to send to the next generation. Listen, there are people I don't care for. And when I see them, I don't say hi to them. I don't wave at them. If they say hi or wave to me, I ignore them. Why am I going to act like I like you if I don't? That's plastic. That's fake. That's not nice. That's like, well, it's plastic and fake, and it certainly isn't kind. So, anyway, I think I made my point. This has been a long video. I wanted to give you the tour of the trees. Starting to feel like I'm not in here alone. So, we go back out and finish our walk. Finish my walk. I'm going to let you guys go. I've kept you long enough. So, think about that. Think about it. When you're out there and you're around other people, are you really being kind or are you just being nice? Are you saying things, oh, hi, how are you? Do you really care how that person's doing? If you don't, why are you asking them? Because you feel like you're supposed to? Whatever. All right. See y'all for more next time. From here at Homesteading Off the Grid, the most awesome, most popular homesteading channel on the internet that has nothing to do with homesteading. Make sure you're following me on Facebook at Sick Twisted Humor. And we're now on TikTok because people have been copying my videos from Facebook and uploading them on TikTok and getting millions of views. Whatever, dude. That's not kind and that's not nice. It's called copyright infringement. So, hey, my jokes might not be original, but my face and my voice and my tone and my delivery are. So I've started a TikTok. We're getting those guys shut down. If anybody's going to be getting millions of views over there, it's going to be me. And you're going to help me get them by going over there and following me on Sick Twisted Humor on TikTok. See you for more next time.